Julia Davis branch. That's actually where we had our started teaching classes at here in St. Louis before we got our building. Then that was the place that we had our first lecture at, and we have that was our first campsite right outside of that library. And I'm gonna tell y'all a short story. Now, if anybody, or any of you brothers or sisters, repeat this story, I'm taking y'all to counsel. Right? I remember I got the phone call. Right, I'm in the crib, I'm working, doing some stuff in my garage. I get a phone call from Captain Marquand. Right, Captain Marquand tells me, he says, "Hey, I want you to do a lecture there in St. Louis." And my exact words, of course, in my head was, "I don't know nothing about no fucking lecture." You know what I'm saying? But I took the order, right? And I actually like it now. You know what I'm saying? I've done several, you know what I'm saying? So give Captain Marquand a hand for putting that battery in the Negro back. You understand? And I just told him that I cussed him out. And, you know what I'm saying? And so don't tell him. You know what I'm saying? I said that. No, but seriously, I was like, what do I don't know about no goddamn election. You know, I ain't even spoke at camp yet. Yeah. But no, this is actually part two for part one. This is Mo Drugs. The M and the O stands for Missouri, right? Mo Drugs, Missouri, and all of its drugs. You understand? And it's the plague, not the plug. I know y'all heard me playing a couple of songs. Everybody that got in on this plug thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, Fabulous, and several other rappers. You know what I mean? Plug, all this plug, this plug, that. When that is actually a plague to us. Drugs are a plague to black people. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, by us doing these lectures, you understand, then our people will find out that you are actually, you understand, children of the Lord. You are God's chosen people, and not, you understand, those white folks that claim that they are. You know, and then by you saying that this was designed to destroy you, these drugs were forced on you to destroy you. You understand? So hopefully our people will see that and say, you know what, hey, I'm gonna get off of this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna dedicate this lecture to my auntie. You understand? Marnice White. You understand? Aunt Marnice. She actually died. Me and Malak, we did a camp. This was, I think, a month or two before this happened. I can't remember. But we both spoke on, I don't know if you remember that, Malak, we both spoke on fentanyl and how they was mixing it with all the drugs, you know. And I think Malak said, I said, both of us said, hey, you know, keep getting high. Then you're going to turn around and get a laced weed, a laced blunt, something with some fentanyl in it, whatever it is you get high off or crack, and you're going to die. And my aunt, I got the phone call from the coroner, turned around and called me, you understand, because they found my auntie dead. They said the person that she was smoking with, she was smoking crack. And she was smoking crack for a long time, right? And this right here, that was her last hit. They said she took that hit of that crack, stood straight up on her feet, and fell over dead. You understand? They believe she died before she even hit the floor. You understand? That's how fast and how deadly and how lethal this fentanyl stuff is. You understand? Is they believe before she hit the floor, she was dead. You understand? So, now, that's crazy. You understand? And that worked fast. She turned around, hit it, stood up, and turned around and fell face forward on the floor dead. So, you know, this is for my auntie. You know what I'm saying? Yep, yep. All right, so we're gonna go over just a few things. And real quick before I do, this is another location like I had mentioned, and they hours are a little different. You know what I'm saying? So we'll kind of blaze through it a little bit. You know, they kind of, like I said, just due to the inconvenience of the tornado. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause we actually at the other location we would have been set, but I'm gonna kind of go through this a little bit. But I'm gonna recap on some of these things that I talked about in the first lecture. Right? That's a flyer I have. I did that in 2019. And since then, I've been following all of the drugs and everything that's been going on here in the city of St. Louis and all over Missouri, even in Kansas City. You understand? In other cities, other towns, other country, you understand, other parts of the country here in Missouri. And the drugs have really got bad. And for our people, they have been smoking and getting high off of everything now. And I brought that out in the last lecture, right? And the plug is the person that has everything that you need when it comes to that dope. Okay, and we turned around and we covered ecstasy, crack, meth, LSD, K2, that bath salts and spice, cocaine. You understand? Alcohol. We went over all of the drugs because I brought out the statistics of how our people. You know how they classify drugs as a white or a black drug. That ain't so no more. You understand? Now with our people, they doing all of the drugs. You know, so I covered all of that. And this part right here, this was really unique. That I turned around and found the scientist who actually is responsible for creating the trap house. I know your favorite rappers. I know you think they invented. You understand? Didn't T.I. have a song called Trap House or something like that? And everybody got a song about the trap house and all of this. And I know you think your favorite rapper made that, but he did it was a white man. You understand? And the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. This is what they call Rat Park. Okay, and they took and they built this right here in a lab to where they had the mice because you know they always doing studies on mice because that's like the closest thing to a human. You understand? As far as our reaction and theirs. You know what I'm saying? To everything. And so they turned around and had the communities built, right, and had several different families of rats, okay, within this park. And this is what he came up with, okay. It was a series of studies into drug addiction conducted in 1970 and published between 1978 and 1981 by Canadian psychologist Bruce K. Alexander and his colleagues at Simon Fraser University in British Columbia, Canada. Now, check this part out. Alexander's hypothesis was that drugs do not cause addiction. Y'all heard it? The white man said that the drug does not cause the addiction. So crack don't cause you to be addicted. Weed don't cause you. Meth, you understand? The spice and the K2, the fentanyl, that doesn't cause your addiction, it says, and that the apparent addiction to opioid drugs commonly observed in laboratory rats exposed to them is attributable to their living conditions. So they're actually what he did was it said and not to any addiction property of the drug itself. So it's not the crack that makes you addicted to crack. It's because of the situation that you're going through at home with your parents or something, or with your wife or your husband. You know what I'm saying? You lost your job or something like that. That's what make you go and get the crack and get addicted to it is because of what you're going through there, not the drug itself. And what they ended up doing was they ended up. This is him. That's Bruce Alexander right there. And what they ended up doing was they took this eventually and said, you know what, we think you're right. And they started pushing that. And at the same time, they started pushing the drugs, crack and heroin in our community. You understand? They turned around and eventually put the weed in there. That's why a lot of our people smoke that weed too, from their wood stock, you know. And we're gonna go over there too. So, but yeah, he turned around. He is responsible for the push, the drug push, because of his claim, him lying, saying that there's no property in the crack, in the heroin, in the weed, in the fentanyl. None of it gets you addicted. It's because you're poor. You know, it's because you're making minimum wage. It's because you have a air mattress on your floor and you don't actually have a bed. You know what I'm saying? And a box spring and a mattress. You know, it's because you don't have a TV. You know, it's because of your living conditions that makes you addicted to those drugs. I think that is ridiculous. And him being the devil, which means liar and deceiver, is the perfect name for these people. I don't know what else to call them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what else to call them. All right. So now we're gonna just go over a few things that our people are smoking now. You understand? And those vapes, okay, and e-cigs. You know, a lot of folks. I have seen a lot of people. I got a contract where this devil sits at the slave and just smokes that damn e-cig all shift. You understand? His whole shift, he's sitting there puffing on that damn thing. That is crazy. So we're gonna see how harmful these things are. You know, and like I said, so that our people can more and more of our folks are smoking these things too. It says vaping, while sometimes considered less harmful than smoking, is not without its risks and potential dangers. It can cause lung damage, breathing problems, and addiction, and may increase the risk of respiratory and cardiovascular diseases. Additionally, vaping can harm the developing brains of young people, and some chemicals in vape aerosols are known to cause cancer. Now, that one right there about the developing of the brains of young people, I really hate that. I hate that all of our people are smoking any damn thing because you're not supposed to be smoking anything. You understand? You're supposed to be smoking weed, crack, you understand? Whatever. You understand? It don't matter what it is. Cigarettes, okay? If you roll the weed in some papers, if you slice the swisher down the middle or the cigarette or whatever it is, you ain't supposed to be smoking nothing. All right? And like I said, it harms the developing brains of young people. And it really does. You know, it really does, man. And it really stops the growth of a potential prince or princess. You understand? I'm talking about our people. You know what I mean? So, and then hookahs, that's something else that a lot of our people are smoking. I have seen brothers and sisters riding around in their cars with a whole hookah thing in the, in the passenger. Y'all see that? Am I the only? Y'all see that too? Oh, damn. Okay, it ain't just in St. Louis. I thought it was a St. Louis thing because everywhere I go now, I see a brother or sister I park on the side of, or they drive past me, and they got the hookah thing sitting next to them. I see the thing bubbling in the passenger seat, and they sitting there with the tip in their damn mouth while they drive. That is crazy. But we're gonna find out if hookahs are harmful too. It says hookah smoking is not a safe alternative to cigarettes and can be just as harmful. While some may believe that water filtration process makes hookah less dangerous, it doesn't eliminate the risk associated with inhaling smoke containing toxins like nicotine, tar, and carbon monoxide. Hookah smoking can expose individuals to higher levels of carbon monoxide and nicotine compared to cigarettes, and it may increase the risk of heart disease, cancer, and other problems. So there is no alternative. There's no safe alternative to smoking. You know what I'm saying? You can't just, oh, well, you smoke crack, I'm just smoke weed. You know what I mean? It don't matter. You're still going to harm your body. All right? And let's see, now the weed, oh my God, everybody love that bud, boy. What was that song? Still smoking bud, still smoking the weed. Boy, our people make them songs, make it sound so good. You know what I'm saying? Now look, when I was younger, I ain't smoked that lick of weed. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't smoke that, but I played like every weed song. I had the beats in my truck, and every damn weed song had beats by the ton. You understand? And I had them, and I was playing them, and I was turned up. Boy, y'all would have thought I was just got through smoking. Every time you saw me, every time I pulled up, I was playing some kind of smoking song. You understand? Especially Mister. You understand? Still smoking, bud. Still smoking, dough. I used to jam that. You understand? But as far as the harms that it's doing to our people, they can keep that. You understand? They can. Oh, wait, no, I slammed. All right. So now this, I got a couple of articles here. And it says, with weed being legal, Missouri is now looking at the public health consequences. Now, for a minute, for a long time, due to the classification of marijuana, they could not do much research on it. So now that they've reclassified it, they're able to go in and now they can test it and they can come up with different conclusions. And I'm telling you, those lies that they put out there, it relaxes you, it calms you. You know what I'm saying? It helps your anxiety. What other excuses do our people use? It's all kind of stuff, man. That's not true. That is totally not true. And they are finding out the consequences from you smoking these drugs now. And it says, since Missouri legalized marijuana in 2018, Dr. Bob Patterson has noticed a change in attitudes. Now, first off, I'm going to give y'all something that me and Abon had went around and did. They had, not too far from the school, the Sears, it was called the Sears Building. And they got a big strip mall right behind it. Matter of fact, it got hit by the tornado too. Half of the building is gone right up the middle of it. And they turned around and they had a group. I forgot the name of this group, but it was a bunch of brothers and sisters that was going around getting signatures, trying to push the weed, trying to get the weed legalized, right? And they had two different. They moved from two different offices, in the building. First, they was in the strip behind it, and then they turned around and moved into the actual serious building. And I tried to go undercover. You know, how people be doing that stuff on TV. They go undercover. I tried to go undercover. I put on, look, I ain't put on none of this you see me in now. I ain't put on no fringes. I ain't had no fringes on my pants. I ain't had no shields on. I went plain clothes, right? And it was something about me. They still just would not let me in there. I could smell all the dope at the door. They was in there getting high. And I wanted to see what they was actually in there doing. Were they doing anything worth anything? And they wouldn't let me in. I couldn't even get in, even plain clothes. So, but like I said, they knew what I was there for. They knew I was there not to turn around and okay and sign that bill and push that weed. So, but I didn't get to get in on the inside, but I did. I smelled all the dope from the outside. And they really was pushing, getting them signatures, boy. They was really getting them signatures like crazy. So, and then of course, one thing that they promised them was to raise a minimum wage. So within, was it 5 years? I believe minimum wage is supposed to climb like $5. You know what I'm saying? If you sign for the weed. So you sign for the weed, of course, they ain't got the increase in the minimum wage like what they promised. You know, so that's correct. So the Children's Mercy Hospital psychiatrist more often hears from parents wondering if cannabis could help their child's anxiety, autism, or OCD. I tell them there are no studies, said Batterson, the medical associate director of the hospital's division of developmental and behavioral health. A lot of hype, but no studies. And see, that's why I said about the classification. Since they reclassified it, now they're doing some studies. But this right here, at first, because you heard a lot of people, I had a lot of people argue with me that, oh no, weed cure cancer. Ain't no studies on it. They don't have nobody that turned around and said, I had cancer, I smoked 6 blunts, and now I don't have cancer anymore. You understand? Because guess what? Everybody with cancer will be smoking blunts to get rid of the cancer.
Right.
But that ain't true. They still got it. You understand? They still got their cancer even though they smoking the blunts. All right? So then it says, and even if Children's Mercy allowed its doctors to prescribe weed, it doesn't. Batterson wouldn't know what to dose or what. Sorry, Batterson wouldn't know what dose to recommend. So they like, I don't even know how many. Like, I don't know, prescribe you like half a bag. You know what I'm saying? A whole bag, a half a blunt, one blunt, or smoke 3 blunts a day. They don't know because ain't no studies on it. Nothing that'll tell you concretely that weed will help cure anything, with anxiety, autism, or OCD. He also couldn't say which patient might experience a marijuana-induced psychotic episode or other serious reaction. No one could. All right. It says years of federal prohibition and the resulting limits on research mean the science about marijuana is skimpy at best. Public health experts say that should trigger caution in a world where legal marijuana is increasingly accessible and more widely consumed. There has been relatively little research on cannabis, said Stephen Tush. I hope I said that right. Who chaired a year-long study for the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine about the impact legal cannabis is having on public health. Many of the benefits are often overpromoted and are iffy in many cases, and the harms are often not fully appreciated. So basically, what they said is the harms, ain't nobody even worried about the harms. Nobody even care about the harm. Now that it's legal, they think that they can just go pick it up anywhere they want to. I rolled past, like, on our school is located on Delmar, right? When you go to where our camp spot was in U City, that's further up the road, right? They have 6 to either 8 dispensaries, like within 2 or 3 blocks. It's like 2 or 3 blocks, and they got about 8 dispensaries right there. And as I'm sitting at the light by one of the dispensaries, Oh, y'all seen brothers and sisters being so kind to one another. They open the door, they walking, you know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of them coming in, a bunch of them coming out. They just so like, oh, you go, no, you go, man, you go. See, they cool getting that week. You understand? But any other time, you step on his foot or something, it's a whole fight. You know what I'm saying? Bump into him coming out the door, out the grocery store, the gas station. You know what I'm saying? Bump get blasted. Well, as he's coming out of the dispensary, I'm telling you, that was crazy. The whole light, they sitting there like, no, brother, you go. Oh, you go. No, brother, you come on, man. You go. Come on. The whole time the light was on. And they steady being so kind to each other, coming out of that dispensary. But then when you look at all of the shootings that has happened in the city for brothers not being kind, you understand? It's insane. You know, over the drug. I know a brother that got pistol. I think he stole an ounce or something, a pound, whichever one it was from somebody else, one of my family members. And they pistol with him, almost killed him. You understand? For whatever it was. It wasn't kind. They, oh man, it's just an ounce, bro. Don't worry about it. It's cool. No, they found out he stole it and almost killed him over a bag of weed. So, but this is an expo that they did. All right. So I'm gonna skip that one. This right here talks about the seniors, our old heads, right? And it says more seniors are using cannabis than ever before, despite health risks, shows research. So even though they got all of the research that's coming out now showing you that, hey, this is no good for your health. Even our old heads, you understand? The older generation of our people are rolling more blunts than the law allows. All right. It says researchers identify a 46% increase in marijuana use among Americans aged 65 and older. That's a goddamn shame. You get that old and want to get high. Like, I mean, I know you probably retired. You know what I mean? You retired from the fire department. You understand? Or whatever job you was on, and then now you just want to chill and relax. I get it. But damn, why you get 65 and want to get high? Like, this is crazy. All right, so let me go to the next one. It says new data has revealed that cannabis use among older adults is at an all-time high. That's pretty damn high, 46%. 46% of our people are getting high, smoking the dope. And then throughout this whole article, I didn't even put the whole article in there, but as you can see, the brother that was at the expo, they had the white people behind it, you know, saying giving the flyers. You understand, presenting the bud, and they had the Negroes on the other side buying it, they're testing it and stuff like that. And they got all of our people that's in this article, all photos of brothers and sisters throughout this whole article. And it says, researchers at UC San Diego and NYU discovered that marijuana use by Americans aged 65 and older increased by nearly 46% from 2021 to 2023, according to NYU press release. As more states legalize marijuana for recreational use as well as for medicinal therapies, accessibility to the drug is more widespread, particularly among aging adults. Despite a well-known and largely accepted narrative that marijuana is safe and not addictive, now you know that's what it truly is. It's just a narrative. People say, what did Smokey say? Hey, it comes from the earth, and that's what about every weed head say. Is that the weed it comes from the earth? It grows on the ground. Hey, what's wrong with the weed? You understand? Well, there's something wrong with the weed. I'm telling you, you're not supposed to be smoking it. It's unlawful. All right. And it says the reality, especially when people consume greater and stronger amounts of the drug, is often different, health experts said. Some 30% of cannabis users report having a physical dependency on the drug. Now, remember, Bruce Alexander said that no property that the drug has is what makes it addictive. It's something that's going on with you and in your life. You know what I'm saying? And at home, and in your marriage, and with your kids, or something. It's something else. It's some other reason why you are addicted to the drug. But that is totally not true. The people having a physical dependency on it, according to the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. Scientists believe that The drug could hurt brain function. Are y'all paying attention? Like, have you ever talked to a weed head? They say some of the stupid shit, don't they? I remember my cousins. I used to hang, like I said, I used to play all the weed songs, and I used to hang with all of the weed heads. Okay, and I never smoked, right? And my cousins would turn around and say some of the dumbest shit when they be getting high. Straight up. I mean, I remember one time my cousin, hey, cousin, you ever wonder why a tiger is round? Like, no, I don't wonder why it's round, nigga. It went from A to B, you understand? I call roll, you understand? I can imagine rolling on a square, you understand? But yeah, but that's the kind of stuff that they would say. They really come up with stupid stuff, man. It really hurts their brain, and they don't even understand. It says, heart health, okay, that's something else that a lot of people have not taken into consideration. Like when you look this up, you'll find out that weed smoke blackens your lungs by I think it says 500% more than smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times people think that smoking them cigarettes make your lungs extremely black and put all that tar in there, and prevent you from breathing. But weed does the same thing. Okay? And it says, and can lead to impaired driving. So around St. Louis, I don't know how it is in other cities. You understand? But man, they all riding around, smoking, getting high, and I'm telling you, they can't drive. Their cars be tore up. It's a lot of accidents here in St. Louis. You understand? From this impaired driving or them riding around getting high. It's a daycare in our school. I know y'all seen it. The daycare is one sister that smokes like it smells like she's smoking on the way dropping them off, like maybe like 3 4 blunts, and turn around the baby. One time the baby was getting out of the car and she was high as hell too. The baby, she turned around hollering, girl, come on, and the baby's just standing there. She's stuck because she high. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't believe in a contact high. You know what I mean? They don't think that stuff is true. But this baby could not move. She turned around and opened the car door for her, and the baby got out, and she stood there by the door, and she telling her to come on. She at the door to go in the building to drop off because she got like 4 kids, and she dropping all of them off, but this one was stuck and could not move. I was like, God damn, I felt so bad for that little baby. All right. So when it says it also correlates with social anxiety, depression, and schizophrenia. And now the narrative is that the weed fixes all of that. It fixes your schizophrenia. It fixes your depression and your social anxiety, but it doesn't. It makes it worse. Right? Smoking that weed. And see, this is what I was saying about the pictures that they put in this article. It's all of our brothers and sisters that smoking and getting high. Every last picture. All right. So dementia risk connected to cannabis-related hospital visits, says study. So now again, since they reclassified the drug, they have been doing more and more studies on, like I said, everything pertaining to weed. And it says the research published in JAMA Internal Medicine found that 7% of 15,000 adults in this age range reported using cannabis in the last month, according to 2023 data from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health. This was an increase from 4.8% in 2021 and 5.2% in 2022. So as you can see, it keeps going up. You know what I'm saying? Our people just keep using dope more and more and more and more. You understand? When it should be going down. Once you found out that the white man forced these drugs on us, you should turn around and say, man, to hell with this crack.
Right.
You know, to hell with these pills. To hell with this weed. To hell with these blunts. You understand? You should turn around and say, you know what? I don't want to smoke. I'll never smoke again. Knowing that they turn around and force that on us so that we could all die, eventually. All right? And it says, while marijuana use surged in both men and women, it was more prevalent among women. Now, I have said this in a lot of classes and a lot of shows, that women smoke more weed, do more drugs than men. And they really do. They talk about brothers for them, but they get high too. Let's not get it twisted. but women smoke more dope than the men do. You understand? You want to say something?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
if I could, what you bringing out heavy, it's like the women got a more high tolerance than men. That's what it seems like.
I don't know if they got a high tolerance. You know, I just think that they're more simple than us. You know what I'm saying? The Bible says that the woman is simple and she knows nothing. You understand? So and I really think that that's what it is. You know, because guess what? I done heard all of the stories, brother, about what sister in the hood when I was coming up. Like I said, I hung with all of the weed heads and all the smokers, and I knew every sister on the block that had sex with who for what block and what bag of weed, or just to hit the block. You understand? So I don't know about that one, buddy, man. I know you usually be on point. You know what I'm saying? So I had to cut you on that one. You know what I'm saying? Look, we're gonna study on that one. We're gonna study that one together and come up with that note. You know what I'm saying? But no, I think they really are. I think they are because you think about it, like I said, around where the school is, right? Man, it is so many sisters that's out there strung out on that dope. You know what I mean? And sitting prostitute all day, all night. You know what I mean? Like it'll make your head spin. You know. All right. This is the research found that increased use was associated with health conditions like hypertension, diabetes, cancer, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease (COPD). So they are linking smoking weed to a lot of things now. You know what I mean? And the ISUPK, we've been saying it since 1969. We gotta say no to drugs.
Yeah, right.
You understand? We say no to drugs in here. All of them. Weed, crack, pills, mollies, hollies, jollies, you understand? Trolleys, whatever the hell you smoke. Whatever you pop. You know what I mean? We say no to all of that. All right? So let me keep going with this. And the reason I'm hitting this marijuana because a lot of people really smoke that dope and think that it is like nothing wrong with smoking weed. I've talked to so many family members, you understand, so many people in the world, you know, that smoke weed and they really do not think it's nothing wrong with it. They really don't. They really think that it's okay. And it says the researchers also warned that the use of cannabis products, especially with psychoactive properties, could cause complications in chronic disease management in older adults. In a statement sent to Fox News Digital, the senior author Joseph Palomar, PhD, associate professor of population health at NYU Langone, noted his concern about cannabis use increasing among older populations. So this cat here was like, man, hey, this something going on. What's wrong? You know, and I'm worried about our old folks that's smoking their weed. Right? It says daily marijuana smokers face a higher risk of heart attack, stroke, says American Heart Association study. You know, now I've said this, you know, like in my last lecture, like you're going to smoke whatever it is, weed, crack, and it's going to turn around and stop your heart, and you're going to die. And my auntie was one of those people that was real close to me that did just that. She was smoking something that she didn't know was laced with that fentanyl. Because they've been doing that a lot with the crack, with the weed. They've been mixing it, you know. And a lot of our people have been dying as a result of trying to get high off something, even if it is the one that comes from the earth. You know what I mean? They turn around and have been hitting it. It's laced, you know. And that's something else that I never understood because they did that with the crack when it first came out. I used to hear about them mixing it with rat poison. Y'all ever heard that? I know so many people. I had a lot of family members die from smoking crack that was laced with the rat poison back then. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I thought selling the drugs was to get the money. But you put something in it that's going to kill the damn drug addict and you ain't going to get no more money. I was like, that didn't make sense to me. I just didn't understand that logic. But it's a lot of people out there doing it. And they are lacing drugs with things that is going to kill you. And one of those things, the latest thing now, is the fentanyl. It used to be rat poison, but now it's fentanyl, right? So let me finish this point and go to the next slide. It says, my worry is that some of these people may have adverse psychiatric reactions especially if they use edibles, he said. It's very easy to accidentally eat too much, and then there's no turning back once it's already ingested. There's gonna be no turning back. It was no turning back for my auntie that turned around and got that lace crack and stood up and fell down and died before she hit the floor. That was crazy. That was crazy. Go ahead, Mike man.
No, I just want to say, back in the day, I came up in the projects in Robert Taylor's, so I used to see overdoses all the time. And what they used to try to do was they used to try to make you drink milk. Like, man, drink this milk, it's gonna bring you down. You know what I'm saying? And now I don't know what the hell they got that from. It just clearly said it ain't nothing. Once it's in there, in your bloodstream, ain't nothing you could do about it. I just wanted to bring that out.
Yeah, God, that's an excellent point. Go ahead, bro.
Just real quick. Like some of the edibles, like when I was young, you know what I'm saying? I was out in the world, and like the edibles, they make it sweet and everything. Like candy, you know how, you know what I'm saying? How we like candies and stuff. How they like to eat that sweet stuff. I got a sweet tooth. And then they make it so sweet and so good tasting, and you just eat the whole damn. Eat the whole bag like it's nothing. Now you messed up.
Yeah.
Now you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what they said. You said you was in them. You used to.
I did it one time, so I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest. I did.
Yeah, get that brother a hand. He off this shit now. You know what I'm saying? He got the commander general house now. He definitely gonna get high. Yeah. Look, I can tell as hard as that brother be working every time I go to Indiana, man. The hell when he came here, he worked too hard to be high. You know what I'm saying? I know he don't be high. Hey, good work, you know what I'm saying? Getting off of that shit. I mean that for real. Anybody that get off of any drug, big ups to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But see, I had no addiction. You know what I'm saying? I never smoked, like I said, weed or any crack or anything. I did no drugs. You know what I'm saying? I drunk a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I wasn't no alcoholic. And that nothing ever affected me as far as, alcohol or weed or crack pills or something like that. All my partners was doing that. All of my partners was doing it. You know what I mean? And they always offered me to smoke. You understand? And I never understood that either. I was like, why do you keep asking me, nigga? You know I don't smoke. You know what I'm saying? Every time I come out the house to hang with you niggas, you think, I'm gonna smoke with you today, cuz. Fuck with your boy, cuz. Like, I don't smoke. You know what I'm saying? And I just thank God that I was strong enough to fight that, even though I wasn't in the truth, to where I could have been a drug addict too. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And that's how you bring that out because a lot of people get turned on to doing drugs by peer pressure. You know what I'm saying? So for you to fight, you know what I'm saying, one of the main reasons brothers and sisters out here, you know what I'm saying, off the drugs, that's heavy within itself.
Damn right. Damn right. Huh? And part of the reason that I do these lectures is because almost everybody in my family on drugs. Damn it, everybody in my family is on some sort of drug. And they really don't think that they have a problem. They don't. It's insane. All right. So let me see. I'm serious. I'm telling you, they do not think they got a problem. I know a brother that he went from selling. You know how they say don't get high on your own supply. Yeah. He started getting high on his own supply, and he lost half his teeth in his mouth. He lost all his weight. He looks terrible. You know what I'm saying? My cousin looks horrible. You know what I mean? Now that he's on, I forgot he do meth and some other shit. He do a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? He mixes up a lot. So you want? Yes.
Not a lot.
Okay. No sweat. All right. So let's go with the next one. In a previous interview with Fox News Digital, Dr. Barbara Krantz, medical director at Caron Treatment Centers in Florida, confirmed that she's seen a significant uptick in cannabis use by individuals over 50. So everybody everywhere is noticing this. They started researching. They in ERs and hospitals, and, you know what I'm saying, doctors, and everybody started noticing, all these old people smoking all this dope now. You know what I mean? It said it is absolutely an active chemical we need to watch out for. And I'm very disturbed that the elderly are using it. This is what the doctor said. While polls have shown that most older Americans use cannabis to improve sleep, reduce pain, alleviate mental health issues, and to relax, Krantz shared some potential dangers of the habit. Those include increased risk of cardiovascular events, such as heart attack, stroke, increased hypertension, and tachycardia, how you pronounce it, as well as worsening of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. Now, remember, the other doctor came up with the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Research and came to the same conclusion that this doctor did. Now, this is something that I find just completely ridiculous, you understand, which is all of the money that they make from selling weed now, legal weed. Okay, right across the bridge in East St. Louis, where the first dispensary was in this area, right? And me and the bond, we bring out the statistics on this every time we find an article about this weed and stuff like that. The first month that they were open, they made $25 million. One dispensary. Now, you look at East St. Louis, you look at the job situation over there, the houses over there, the streets over there, the businesses over there. It almost looks like a ghost town. You understand? There ain't nothing over there. But that dispensary made $25 million the first month they was open. And this was in the pandemic. This was a pandemic when everybody was dying, everybody getting COVID, everybody getting COVID. You understand? Everybody lost their job, they ain't got no goddamn money. But some way, somehow, they came up with $25 million to put into that bank over there at that dispensary in East St. Louis. And this is Missouri right here, right? These are Missouri's statistics. Missouri marijuana sales top 628 million in 2025. That's how much they made from January 1st to June 10th, right? This is the number that they made, $628 million. And in May alone, they sold $132 million worth of weed. Good night. $132 million worth of weed. Like, I don't know why the drug heads don't say, damn, they got all our money. And say, you know what, let me stop smoking weed so I can keep some of the millions in my goddamn pocket. You know, while our people gotta go to get assistance, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not really shitting on poor people, right? Because all our people are poor, right? And they need those things. But when you got habits such as smoking weed, right? You turn around and you are contributing to the dope man having $628 million in his pocket. This article bragged of all of the taxes, the tax money that they've made. They made over $300 million in taxes. That's what they bragged about in this article. All right, and that put them in. I'm gonna just sum this one up. It was 4 billion. Missouri cannabis sales passed 4 billion since they've been in business and legalized the weed. They done made $4 billion. That's just Missouri alone. That's just in Missouri alone. $4 billion off of weed. I think that is insane. I think that is insane. Man, that is incredible to turn around and be to make that much money off legalized. Like I said, the white man, he is the devil the Bible speaks of. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. To lock all of our people up for years. I'm not encouraging the sale of drugs, but I'm just making a point. We've been getting locked up for weed. Look, I done got pulled over. I ain't even smoked no weed. And I got pulled over. That was the first thing they asked me. Got any weed in the car? You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, you smell any weed here, white boy? You know what I mean? But like I said, $4 billion. But just think about that. Just think about that for a second. $4 billion, man. That's crazy. Go ahead, I get it.
This is real quick. Maybe use that money to fix up Louisiana right now.
You said what?
They can use that money to fix up Louisiana. Not Louisiana. St. Louis right now. They get that money. That's a lot of money right there. That fix all of this.
They ain't gonna do it.
I know they won't.
They don't do it.
Like, that's crazy.
They actually said. Yeah, they actually said that the damages caused in the city is $4 billion. And they got the money right there from all the blunts they've been selling. They just sold $4 billion worth of blunts. So they got the money, but they ain't gonna put it out there. They are not gonna put it out there. All right. So it said Missouri's total legal cannabis sales passed 4 billion. I think it was 4.3. $4.3 billion total. That's what they ended up selling. That's ridiculous. All right. So now let's go to the fentanyl. Again, said, and then we're gonna end up getting out of it. All right. The fentanyl. Good damn night. So this video, let me play this one. I think it's gonna route me to another. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Hey, Slocky Cap, did you say 4 billion or 4 million?
Oh no, I said 4 billion with a B. I said 4 billion, brother. Yeah, they sold 136 million in just 1 month. In the year, they sold over 638 million from January to June. And just what's that 6 whole months here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what they've been doing. All right, let me see if I can get this one to play here. Yeah, this one. Wait a minute. Yeah, this video always give me problems. Let me skip to the next one. I actually reached out to this brother here. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get him to come to the lecture. And this doctor, I kinda like her. I don't agree with what she said totally because since they came up with this Narcan thing, they really think that it's okay. Now we have a safer alternative to people getting high. They're making places to where they can actually go get high and have a can of Narcan afterwards, so they won't die on the floor. You know, so uh, this brother here, he told his story, and I wanted him to come to the lecture. I reached out to him, he ain't get back with me, but he gonna speak on him using the drug. But first, I think they're gonna talk to the doctor, this sister here.
More Americans died of drug overdoses last year than ever before. And while the number of lives lost is up across nearly every demographic since the start of the pandemic, there's been an especially alarming spike in overdose deaths among Black Americans. John Yang reports from St. Louis.
Now you notice they talking about us. You know what I mean? They ain't talking about white folks that's dying from it. This is about us.
What's behind a growing public health crisis?
Let's take a listen to your heart and lung.
In a St. Louis clinic, 52-year-old Gerard Rowe has a routine appointment with Dr. Kanika Cunningham. She makes the usual checks.
Take a deep breath.
It asks about another issue she's got.
You said, can you come and use a little bit? Are you using safe? You know, talking about that before.
Yeah, when you turn it up.
Not doing anything.
Cut.
Okay.
Cunningham, a family practice physician, treats drug addiction in her patients just like any other medical condition, like high blood pressure, diabetes. If they're not ready to stop using drugs, she wants them to use them safely.
I'm also concerned the last time that happened, you had that overdose, so.
Yeah.
That's the thing I was talking about. I disagree with. How the hell do you use drugs safely? There's no way to smoke crack safely. You ever seen somebody smoke some crack and they reaction? You know what did Smokey say? I was sweating like a slave in people's pigeon coop. You understand? There's no safe way to smoke no dope, man. It was crazy. And that's what I was saying about, the doctor. I like the fact that she is, trying to take her skill that she went to school for and helping our people with. But some of the things that she was saying, I just disagree with. I totally disagree with that. Ain't no safe way to smoke no weed, no crack, no fentanyl, no none of that. No safe way to do no drug.
I don't want you to overdose again. My treatment plans incorporate safe use tips, safe consumption tips, 1-800 number to never use alone, reviewing how to use Narcan. So I want people to leave feeling empowered and equipped with information because it's a chronic disease. Recurrence of use is going to happen. So if we know that it's going to happen, why don't we give the individual in front of us, share that knowledge that I have so that I can see you next week at your next appointment, see you 2 weeks later.
It's an approach she believes can help stem the soaring number of drug overdose deaths, especially among African Americans. Here in the St. Louis area, since 2015, deaths from drug overdoses are up nearly 400% in the black community. The rate of increase that's 8 times higher than the rise among white residents.
If that's not alarming. That's not alarming. I don't know what it is. You know,
Right.
in just 10 years, it's up almost 400%. You know, and like I said, from last time that we did our lecture in 2019, you know, it's up then, you know, from there. So like I said, it's just increasing. That's it.
It's a public health crisis that's largely been overshadowed by the pandemic.
In 2020 and 2021, we lost over 400 black men. Over a 2-year span, we lost more people to overdoses than to COVID-19. This is a civil rights issue, a human rights issue that we need to change. It's a chronic disease, and we have stigmatized a chronic disease.
Joe has been battling addiction since 2016 when he was depressed over losing his job and someone offered him heroin.
So I was in the dumps. And I thought that, yeah, maybe that'd make me feel better if I snort a couple of lines. That hooked me. And it hooked me for 5 years. I mean, it hooked me bad.
Heroin gave way to fentanyl, a synthetic opioid 50 times more powerful. Eventually, he was taking up to 35 pills a day. Was it just the wanting it, or was it needing it?
Needing it. I even stopped paying bills just to get that. You know, the nice apartment I was renting that I was at for 5 years, that's gone. I mean, it really took me through some things.
2 overdoses of his own couldn't convince him to try to stop. But the overdose deaths of 2 others close to him did.
I lost a son. He overdosed. I lost a brother. All in 1 year, overdose on fentanyl. And that woke me up. No ifs, ands, buts, no second guessing. I gotta stop.
Rome's been Cunningham's patient for 3 months.
I mean, some days it's like up here. I mean, it's so intense that I can't get past it.
She's put him on Suboxone, one of the main medicines used to treat opioid addiction.
Let's see how you do. That should really help control your cravings and withdrawal.
He says it's helped him cut down to a single fentanyl pill a day.
I know where the need is, and that's where I like to go.
To reach people like Rome, Cunningham teams with other healthcare providers and community groups to take treatment out of doctors' offices and clinics and into neighborhoods like this one in North St. Louis.
Get it cleaned up. What are your thoughts about that?
I would love to have that.
Mobile treatment centers offer things like the overdose reversal drug Narcan and offer tips on how to safely use drugs.
This is one.
Again, there's no safe way to use drugs. And I actually hate seeing our people in this condition. When ride around, like I said, we're going to and from school. They are all over the place. And they sitting around getting high, and they can't stand, they can't walk. Some of them get stuck on the sidewalk. Have you ever seen videos like it online? To where they just sitting there stuck, they just froze like this. I'm saying, God damn. And I actually see our people doing that. We went to feed them downtown one time. Rapayala, he could tell you. They were sleeping on the vent, right, to get some heat. And they were so high down there, they was just stuck. Like they couldn't even take the plates. As we was passing up the plates to them, they didn't even know what he was doing. They didn't even respond. They ain't say nothing. They ain't move. We just had to go to the next one that was alert. You know what I mean? And give them the damn plate. You know. But yeah, that was crazy. You know. Go ahead.
Hey, Kev, I'm just looking at what you got up there. It says safer crack smoking tips.
Yeah, that's why I said some of these things that this sister came up with, I disagree with. There is no way. And look, what it said, chew gum to keep yourself hydrated and prevent lockjaw. Like when you smoke the crack, you're going to lock your jaw. Like I don't know what saying she's thinking about. But you're right, that's an excellent point. As a matter of fact, since we right now, I'm gonna read since you called that out, it says use clean copper. Well, matter of fact, we go safe crack smoking tip. It says use clean copper wire or choy pipe screens are ideal. Use those if they have. Like, I mean, why aren't you telling people, no, man, listen, you should not be smoking no crack. Let's get you off the goddamn crack. Not be safe about it. The thing with the brother, he did go from 35 pills a day down to one. But basically, what she's doing is she's keeping people on the drug. Because if it's a safer way for you to get high, then let's just get high like that. Let's just do one pill. Let's just do one. Let's just do two pills. And then we can do it safe. We can use some copper wire. You know what I mean? It says clean your mouthpieces off with an alcohol wipe between uses. What don't fan got some goddamn wipes, some wet wipes, yes, to clean off anything. Hell, half of them don't even clean their body. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Hey, but listen now, before you smoke, man, make sure your shit is clean. Make sure you use a clean pipe. You don't want to smoke crack on a dirty pipe, man. You know, do not use broken or soiled mouthpieces. That's one thing that disgusted me when I used to see brothers, my partners that I hung with in the world, when they would smoke that weed and they turn around and get down to what they call it, roach, and then they'll sit there and they doing all this shit right there with their mouth and slobbing and stuff. I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh my God, that shit was so gross. And I said, oh no, I'll never do that. And then they turn around and pass it to somebody else. And then they got all the spit and saliva all over their fingers. And then they put it in their fingers. And they switch it, and then he starts spitting and slide on the little bit. You can't even see it. They were so small. I got like, what the hell are you niggas passing? Like fingertips? Like, what are y'all doing? I didn't understand. I ain't gonna lie. And they turned around and was hitting that little shit and spitting and sliding. Then start spitting and sliding and they was passing it, messing around, boy. That's disgusting. You know what I'm saying? And these brothers wasn't smoking no crack. You know what I'm saying? They was smoking weed, and that was nasty. So where is the safe tip at for the weed smokers that turn around and pass a roach? You know what I'm saying? With saliva all over. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. When available, use a glass or metal stem without a mouthpiece. Wrap a few rubber bands around the end of the stem. I can't see the last part. Man, chew gum to keep yourself hydrated and prevent lockjaw. Take vitamin C and A supplements. Are they at the gym working out trying to get buff or something? Or are they trying to get high and trying to damn die? That's what these people are doing on these drugs. They ain't in the gym trying to get fit. You know what I'm saying? Trying to lose weight, trying to bring sexy back. They are trying to get high. They ain't worried about no goddamn vitamins. Half of them don't even eat food. You understand? Food gives you some vitamins and some minerals. And they don't even eat that all week. Now you telling them take some supplements. Here they are taking all of their money to buy crack. And you think a crackhead is finna go in GNC. Yeah, let me get those men one of these right there. Give me the $29.90. No, I can spend that $29.99 on that crack. You understand? That's what they're gonna say. They're not going in GNC. And GNC high. They're one of these like $30 in GNC. You know what I mean? They not going in the store buying no goddamn vitamins and no goddamn supplements, man. This is crazy. Keep triple antibiotic ointment handy. Neosporin. Man, come on. This lady can't be real. She can't be for real. She can't be for real, boy. Is she? Or is she? Wear lip balm to ease irritation and burns. Okay, so what's that song? Her lip gloss is popping. Yeah, so the crackheads out there, they got lip gloss on. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. They ain't got no chapstick. You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with this lady? So, and it says, keep the flame moving instead of letting it sit on one spot on the shooter. You hear this? She turned around and she is teaching them and advancing them on how to become a better smoker. She's not trying to help them actually get off of this dope. Because you heard what she said. She said, well, they're going to do it anyway. You understand? They're going to do it. So she developed her list of safer crack smoking tips. You know what I mean? This is crazy. When the tip should be get off of the dope.
Right.
That's the tip right there. Not how to do it safer, because there is no safe way to do no dope. You ever seen sisters that sell their body for weed? They give away body. How many you ever heard about that? It was one sister I grew up with. That everybody on the block had sex with this sister, except me for some weed. They was like, all you gotta do is give her a blunt. I ain't, yes, I ain't doing that. But everybody took advantage of her. As a matter of fact, one day, I think we're Malak, and he ain't here. But I was telling Malak, we seen that sister at one of the camps that we did downtown. And that sister is on some more drugs. You understand? She was pregnant, living up under the bridge downtown. She pregnant, living up under the bridge, and it started with her smoking weed when she was younger, letting everybody hit full blunt or whatever the bag or however they did it, right? She let everybody have sex with her. Now she's on something even worse. I think it was crack or something else. I forgot what she told me she was on. But of course, that weed started, what they call it, the gateway drug. Smoking that weed started to whatever else she on, like crack probably. And then now she's homeless. Half of her kids got taken already, you know what I'm saying, from her drug use and from back in the day. And now she's up under a bridge and had, I think she's pregnant with twins too. She's pregnant with twins living up under the bridge. Yep. So yeah, so this was crazy right here. So this doctor right here, like I said, I like that she's trying to help people, but no. All right, let me go back real quick. I went a little too far. Okay, so this right here, this story right here, this actually rocked St. Louis. This is the deadliest mass overdose in St. Louis history. It says all told, 11 people overdosed on fentanyl, tainted crack cocaine at Parkview and Park Place apartments. This is maybe like 3 minutes away from school, right? And that day that this happened, nothing but sirens, police all day. They kept going to this place. They ended up going. They was there more than 11 times. It was there more than 11 times. But it was a sister that was responsible for this. She stayed in the building. Supposedly, he got evicted for not paying rent, but was still living in the building. And turned around, and she was the plug in the building. And she went and got some crack to sell, like what she had been doing to everybody in the building. And it was laced with that fentanyl, and she killed 11 people. She is responsible. She's in prison now for killing 11 people. Right? So, read some of this story right here. On February 5th, St. Louis Metropolitan Police officers began following the trail of the deadliest mass drug overdose in St. Louis history. It was a cold, bright Saturday morning when they entered Parkview Apartments, number 1015 at 4451 Forest Park Avenue. Police discovered 5 people. 3 were passed away. 3 were passed out, but still clinging to life. 2 others, men ages 57 and 61, had already died, according to city police reports. All right, it says all had smoked crack cocaine tainted with fentanyl, a synthetic opioid painkiller up to 100 times more powerful than morphine. Now you're gonna see this on like in every article where they talk about how lethal and how deadly this the fentanyl can be, right? And matter of fact, there was a sister that I know that worked at a hospital, and she was telling me how a lot of the nurses was stealing the fentanyl, the patches, right? A lot of the patients, they in there dying, and they're supposed to change their patches at a certain time, she said. But she turned around and the nurses would take the patch off, write another date on it or whatever, however they hide it to make it look like the patch still belongs on the people, you know what I mean? While they take the new one and sell that to somebody so they can put it on them. Like, it was crazy. You know what I mean? And I wonder how many people is she responsible for, and the other nurses that was doing that. I wonder how many people are they responsible for being dead now from doing that, selling that stuff to these people, man. It's crazy. All right. So it says, at about noon the same day, police found the body of a man who had overdosed in nearby Park Place apartments at 4399 Forest Park Avenue. Then 90 minutes later, police once again entered Parkview and took the elevator to the 14th floor, then hustled to apartment 1413. They had found the bodies of two more men who died from fentanyl poisoning, police records show. All right. Just after midnight the next day, and only 3 doors down, police discovered the lifeless body of a 54-year-old man in apartment 1416. An hour later, they found a 57-year-old man who had collapsed outside the 14th floor elevator. The final fatality was a woman, 54, whose body was discovered around 2 p.m. on February 7th in apartment 1424, police records show. During this 3-day window, dozens of St. Louis police and firefighters swarmed the building to look for new overdose victims as 911 calls followed 911 calls. So they was like calling back to back to back to back, right? Because more and more people was overdosing. Like I said, this sister, and I think I got this trigger of her, the video with her. This sister, Junie Ann Reed, was the plug in the Parkview apartment. And she is responsible, and I think she only admitted to like either 7 or 9 of the deaths that said she caused. She's saying she ain't caused all of them. She said she ain't sold dope to all of them, but she sold the dope to most of them. So she took most of them. You know what I'm saying? But she said, I fuck that, I ain't taking all this shit. You know what I'm saying? She like my man on New Jack City. Yeah, I ain't going down by myself. You know what I'm saying? I can't, he the one. You know what I'm saying? He right there. He the one that's doing this, not me. You know what I'm saying? So she turned around and said, oh no. So let me play this video.
At 6 from the Central West End to a jail cell. Tonight, a woman is charged and confessing to selling cocaine laced with fentanyl that killed 7 people. The developments have been building all afternoon on your KMOV News app.
Tonight, News 4 investigator Susan L. Corey is learning more about that woman and what investigators say happened. Susan is live from the Parkview Apartments on Forest Park Parkway. Susan.
Well, Corey and Sam, we know the woman facing charges tonight admitted to investigators that the cocaine she sold may have been laced with fentanyl. It's all in these court records we've been going through, including a 6-page affidavit. We've also learned that the apartment the woman was selling drugs out of, she may not have been supposed to be there. Inside Parkview Apartments, Junie Ann Reed admitted to DEA officers she regularly buys crack cocaine and sells it to other residents. A purchase that led 9 people to overdose over the weekend. 7 of them died. One of the people who survived told investigators they've been buying from Reed for 2 years. According to this affidavit, they said on Saturday they bought $20 of what they thought was cocaine from Reed. And immediately upon ingesting the controlled substance, they suffered an overdose. Investigators say surveillance video from inside the building shows that overdose victim going into and leaving Reed's apartment. It also shows another man going in and out. He was found dead in his apartment. Investigators discovered traces of fentanyl and cocaine in a pipe there. Based on the affidavit, the apartment Reed was living in is the same one News 4 investigates learned she was evicted from almost 3 years ago. Court records show in 2019, Reed was accused of not paying her rent. A judge ordered her to pay back more than $1,700 and evicted her. And we did try to ask building management here if Reed was supposed to be living in the building. We also wanted to know about that eviction. At this point, though, we haven't heard back from them. When Reed was evicted, the building was being managed by the Habitat Company, which we've learned is based out of Chicago. Corey, back to you.
All right, Susan, with the update there. Thank you. We're still working to get a mugshot for Reed. She's being charged by the feds, and the Department of Justice does not easily release pictures. News 4 did do some digging of our own, and we found this is not Reed's first drug charge. Back in 1997, she faced a possession charge and took a guilty plea in St. Charles, resulting in some prison time.
So that sister turned around and admitted, yeah, I'm hustling. I buy crack to sell, to make money. And the bitch couldn't even pay her rent. Like, you know what I'm saying? She get public housing You selling all this dope and you couldn't even pay your damn bills. Well, this is ridiculous. She probably smoking too. She probably got some sort of habit too. All right. Now we're gonna go into some of the recent drug busts.
Anonymous tips
Heard
leading
St.
Mobile
Louis.
County Sheriff deputies to a house of an alleged drug dealer. Narcotics investigators executing a search warrant in 8 Mile, arresting Jason
Now this one is not in St. Louis, but I'll pull this story right here.
Roberts. Now we're told that drugs and a loaded gun were found in that house.
Fox News reporter Ariel Mallory live outside the sheriff's office. Ariel, you spoke with the sheriff who said what they found was concerning.
Yeah, that's right, Livingston Lee. According to Sheriff Paul Birch, he says they found marijuana laced with fentanyl, which can be deadly. And he says they're starting to see more of it, which means people should expect to start seeing more of his deputies.
We're hoping we don't see more of this, the fentanyl laced stuff. We hope to find out the source of that and where it's coming from, and we'll aggressively pursue those avenues to get it off the street.
Tonight, the Mobile County Sheriff's Office is continuing to crack down on marijuana in the county and getting it off the street. Sheriff Paul Birch has a warning for those who use it or sell it.
I don't condone, the consumption of marijuana because it's still illegal, but for those who do it in their own home, you're taking an even larger risk now. It might be the last toke you take.
This comes 24 hours after NCSO arrested this 8 Mile man, Jason Roberts. Sheriff Birch says marijuana and a fully loaded Glock were found in his home. According to Birch, narcotics investigators noticed the marijuana looked funny and ran a field test. The test showed it was laced with fentanyl. The sheriff says his deputies are seeing it more, and the outcome can be deadly.
Pill form, we kept saying one pill can kill. But when you deal with marijuana, that might be the last drag you take off that joint, and you're dead.
And according to jail records, Roberts has been arrested for possession of marijuana and a controlled substance before. He's also charged with chemical endangerment of a child. Live tonight, outside the Mobile County Sheriff's Office, Ariel Mallory, Fox 10 News.
Keep smoking that weed. You're gonna be next to die. You're gonna die like my auntie. You understand? I just don't understand why are they lacing the stuff with, this fentanyl, knowing that it's killing people, and you don't know, like they don't know how much to put. Oh no, see this is I'm just sprinkle this little bit on there. Right. Ain't nobody gonna die from that. You don't know. It take a very small amount of that fentanyl, and it will kill you. You understand? Matter of fact, it was a cop here in Missouri that turned around and died. He pulled somebody over and had fentanyl, touched him, and got in his system, he died. You understand? He died quickly, too. You understand? Within minutes, they said, So, they turn around and are lacing the weed with the fentanyl. And you're going to smoke it, you're going to get some, and you're going to die.
Monday, gas station heroin, that's a count.
Now, I pulled this one right here because this is like, I keep saying it, man, for a reason. The white man is the devil. Right. He got shit everywhere. You know what I mean? That's right. Like, I even went in the grocery store one time to get some waters for the school, and they got the damn edibles right in the damn at a Save-A-Lot around the corner from the school. They got them there. One of my contracts that I work at, I stopped to get some gas. I went in to buy some gas. They got edibles sitting right there. I said, God damn, what they start selling this everywhere? It's everywhere now. Now they got this gas station.
I'm a name for one drug because of how easy it is to get. Billy Brightman, live in the newsroom, to tell us about a warning from the FDA and how you can avoid that. Billy, good morning.
Good morning. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration released a health fraud warning about TNFT called gas station heroin because you can find it in convenience stores or vape shops. The drug can be found in some dietary supplements and could have opioid-like effects. It's banned in 10 states, and Missouri's not one of them. It's not FDA-approved substance, and it's also not nationally included under the Controlled Substances Act. It's called a synthetic opioid, synthetic referring to how it's made and not how safe or dangerous it is.
People often mistake a synthetic as somehow being a weaker form of a drug, and that just isn't true. Just because something is legal doesn't mean that it's less harmful.
The FDA says a tianeptine overdose can be treated with overdose reversal methods like naloxone nasal spray, just like any other opioid. Live in the newsroom, Billy Brightman, KY3 News.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna stop at the gas station and be to pick you up something and she go knock you out. You understand? Go ahead, Jan.
So I've actually been in one of the Arab gas stations and went in and just asked for a brown bag. And when he passed it to me, he had a white, small, round substance in there and a pipe. And I'm like, no, this is the wrong bag. After I experienced that, a different corner store in a different neighborhood ran by Arabs. This sister around my age was defending her mother because this gas station had offered her a brown bag and she was offended for her mother, saying we don't look like we even do that. You know, you disrespecting us.
Wait, so what did you ask for when you went to the counter? Like you had some chips and a soda?
I need the bag, and I just asked for a brown bag. The bag you passed me had a substance and a pipe in there.
Had the dope in there.
Yeah, and I passed it right back to him.
Good night. So he just assumed you smoked that dope and just passed you the dope in the bag.
Right.
Good damn night. And you said they did somebody else like that too.
It's a different store.
Oh, that was a different store. They did the same thing.
Goodfellow in 70.
Huh?
My incident, and then Jenny Station Road, corner store over there. Sister defended her mom on. It happened days ago, but she comes back and tells her, my mama told me you try to give her this bag with these drugs in it.
Damn.
That's not us.
That's crazy. Yeah, and then you know something, it's a shame that a lot of them Arabs, they sell the dope. Right? Like for instance, y'all remember the Michael Brown incident, right? How they were saying Michael Brown was selling drugs. Mm-hmm. He was supposedly doing it for the Arabs. Mm-hmm. But the Arabs never get caught. They don't go in there, they don't kick the gas station in and go in there and get the Arab. They don't get Abdullah. You understand? They don't get him. They looking for Khalid. You understand? The nigga that just went in the back. You understand? Trying to hide from the police. That's what he looking for. And I've seen that out of a lot of gas stations and a lot of little chicken spots where they sell, you know, some little convenience stores where the Arabs own. They got brothers outside selling. The Arabs have brothers selling the dope outside. And then turn around and he never bust the gas. Matter of fact, I think that gas station is still open. The one that Michael Brown was affiliated with. You understand? They played a video of him arguing with them in the store. That place still open. You know what I'm saying? You had to handle something?
Yeah, I was gonna say big up to the sis, man, for giving that bag right back to the Arab, man. Take this back.
You said what?
I was saying big ups to the sis.
Oh yeah,
Giving that bag right back to the Arab. He probably didn't expect that.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And you know something else that they was looking for too was freak. You understand? They are all trying to freak on our sister. Right. You know what I'm saying? They think that they all use drugs. They think that they all get high. That's why they passed to the bag. And she was seeing it and took it. Next thing he'd have been asked you to come on in the back with him. You understand? Because I know a sister I grew up with. She worked at the gas station that's not too far from the school on Kings Highway and Martin Luther King. And the owner somehow heard, I don't know who the hell he heard it from, but somehow heard how good she was in the bed. And this man called her on her off day, asking her to come in to give him some sex. And he'll pay her. Straight up. That's the story she told. I said, God damn. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's something else that, you know, he was looking forward to, I'm sure, by passing the women, like she said, the other sister came in, going in about how, hey, you give my mama dope or try to give it to her, whatever, you know. That would have been next. You know what I'm saying? Because they would have been freaking you for whatever it is you're getting high for. Yep. Cause I've seen that a lot too. Matter of fact, real quick, short story. I was at another gas station that's on Delmore and Goodfellow, right? And before this gas station, we banned there. We don't go there no more, right? Because this gas station, they turn around, they stomped a sister out. One of the employees stomped a sister that regularly comes in there. They got it on video. Him coming behind that counter and stomping the shit out of this sister to get her out the store. I don't know what she did, But he did that. So a lot of protests, a lot of people went down to the protest, the New Black Panthers. Uh, Damn, I forgot the brother name that protested a lot here in the city. Everybody was there. Now, ICBK, we went down there, everybody was there. We had to leave though, you understand, because they turned around and set the brother the security guard. The brother was doing security, they hired a brother to do security while everybody was protesting. And when he took the job, they got mad. And they turned around and set the brother's vehicle on fire. You know what I'm saying? Start throwing what's them little bombs. Yeah, at the gas, they tried to set it on fire, man. So we got up out of there, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, they turned around and before that happened, I was in there. We was going everywhere, passing out flyers. We was everywhere, and we ended up stopping in this gas station. And this Arab behind the counter, boy, he was macking his sister down. I don't know what kind of game he was spitting, but she was just giggling. She was falling for it and shit. I gave her the flyer. I said, "Here you go, sis." I said, "You want a man, get you a brother." You know what this Arab said? He said, "Oh, hell no, don't give her no black man." I said, "Do you see this? You hear that?" I said, "Why is he telling you not to get with your own people? Why is he telling you not to get with a black man?" That's what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? So the sister actually came outside the gas station with me and had a conversation about that. And I told her, I said, "Sister, he just don't want to have sex with you. He ain't really trying to get you. Find you a decent brother." You know what I mean? That's what I told her. I said, "Listen, Captain Marquardt, Officer Block, Officer Tazan, you understand? Them a whole bunch of brothers will marry you. You understand? I got a whole bunch of brothers in here that would love to take you on. So you should turn around and get one of these brothers in here." But she turned around and she left. She left after that. You know what I'm saying? After that conversation. So hopefully she didn't go back in there for no more. You know. But yeah, but he said that though. He said, "Hell no, don't give him no black man." I said, "God damn, boy. You people, they terrible." So fentanyl is a powerful synthetic, and we're going to end up getting up out of here after these next few. Synthetic opioid that is similar to morphine, but is 50 to 100 times more potent. It is a prescription drug used to treat severe pain, especially after surgery, and is also made and used illegally. Illicitly manufactured fentanyl is often mixed with other drugs like heroin, cocaine, and amphetamine, increasing the risk of overdose and death. All right? And is fentanyl dangerous? Absolutely. Absolutely. If I'm not mistaken, they say it's like a pack of sugar, sugar pack. That much, I think it's actually less than that. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure. It's less than that, less than a pack of sugar. It's deadly. It will kill you. You know. So this stuff is dangerous. Fentanyl's extreme potency makes it very easy to overdose. Even a tiny amount can be lethal. And because it's often mixed with other drugs, users may not realize they're taking it. That's crazy. You know, go ahead.
So like if I could add, I've noticed that outside those stores that's offering our people drugs, they got those Narcan boxes.
Oh yeah. A lot of people are promoting that. Matter of fact, it's a church. Matter of fact, it's some people that came to some of our food drives that gave us some Narcan. They gave us some little health bags and stuff like that. They gave us some of that before. But it's a church on Goodfellas. They got a box outside of the church. I thought it was a tire box. I really wanted to say, God damn, these preachers who went to they got the tire box outside the goddamn church. I ain't lying. I thought that's what that was. And I went up to it and I said, I was going to make a whole video of that thing. I was going to go in on that. I was like, brother, look at this. The goddamn pastor put the tire box outside. Here it is, because I was doing something at the school. It was about 10:30. I said, nigga, pay their tires at 10, 11 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought I was going to say. But when I went up to the box, it was a box filled with Narcan. You understand? For people because they right down the street. It's like a half a block where they sit at, sleep at, all to get high right there on that corner. And they got a box where they just sit the fentanyl right there. So if anybody is overdosing you, they can just come up and get them a box of Narcan. That's crazy, you know. Go ahead.
That's just real quick. It's like those gas stations, the A-Rads, whatever. They got them little pre-rolls and stuff. I know it's probably been going on, but like they got them little pre-rolls and stuff. And
they got who?
The pre-rolls. I don't know. It's like weed, but it's like pre-rolls. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but like
pre-roll?
Yeah. It's in the gas station. They got all kinds of new.
Ain't no telling. It's crazy. I guess what? I don't know.
It was a while back, like while back for the truth. I found out about it. You know what I mean? So like they got these street roads.
I don't know.
It really hurts your chest and everything.
I'm sure it do.
You
see what the article says? It's gonna hurt your chest, all right? So it's gonna kill you. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna kill you. You gonna die. Yeah, it hurt your chest. You turn around, stroke that shit, be like, damn, my chest, my back, my neck, and my back. You know what I'm saying? You gonna be, hey, all right. You know what I'm saying? So, but check this out. I turned around and got the death toll real quick. In 2020, just 5 short years, and if you look at the bottom, almost 500,000 deaths due to this fentanyl. 327,430 people dead off of fentanyl. Just in 5 years. Just in 5 years. That is crazy. And all of these, this just kept going up and up and up. Now, in 2024, the reason the number is a little smaller is due to the fentanyl. I mean, the Narcan that she mentioned. You understand? Is that a lot of people are hit, they get hit with that Narcan after they about to pass out, about to die, hit them with that Narcan real quick, and that help bring them back. So that's why the number is so low in 2024. But as you can see, it kept increasing. It's still going. It's still up. It's still up. 48,000 people is still too damn many.
Right.
You know, that's still too many people. You know, so but yeah, almost 500,000 people, man, in just 5 years. You know, so this is crazy. All right, now this one thing that I wanted to bring out real quick, and after this we gonna roll. Is fentanyl dangerous to children? You know, because here in St. Louis, a lot of kids have been getting their parents edibles, they weed, they everything fentanyl. It was a sister here that turned around, she had a little baby, I think like 2 years old. And she was so high, she smoked crack, she smoked weed, and she did that fentanyl. And she was so high off of that shit. She was passed out for the longest. She didn't even know her baby was dead. The baby had got a hold to the fentanyl, and the baby had died instantly, they said. The baby died instantly. While the mom was getting high off of the fentanyl, she passed out and didn't know that the baby was dead. Even on her mug shot, you could tell she had no clue what the hell was going on. She didn't know why she was there. She was looking confused. She was looking like, why am I in jail? Like she did not know why she was there. So I'm sure it took a while for her to come down off of that high and realize you are responsible for the death of your baby. Right. You know, your baby died while you was high, passed out, you know, in your living room. You know, so is fentanyl dangerous to children? Yes, it is. All right. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, like this last thing. So I had a cousin, right? Like it's you know, my third cousin with her, but like she was on some K2, and she was about to drop her baby down the balcony. Her husband was trying to stop. They both was high on K2. It was a long time ago. I was young. I was very young. And it was a long time ago. She was about to kill her baby. So they had to take her to the crazy hospital, nurse hospital. But now she got stuff like together now. Oh, now she got stuff like together now. Yeah. But come on, man, you trying to kill your own baby, your own kid? Yeah. But good thing she didn't though. She didn't, but she was about to. Yeah. It was crazy.
And we
long time ago. I was young, very young.
Yeah. I'm glad she didn't kill the baby, and I'm glad she didn't turn around. You know, I'm glad she got her life together. But turn around and that fentanyl stuff, not fentanyl, but the K2 stuff is dangerous too. That stuff, they mix it with anything. It could be like bleach or ammonia. It could be whatever it is, whatever kind of cleaning solution in it. They mix it with everything. You know, they mix that with everything, man. And it is crazy. Like for instance, when we was downtown and we seen a lot of them. Obama, he spotted. He told me. He was like, Cal, we was down there feeding, and he said, hey, everybody high on that K2. They don't want food. I said, damn, you know. Here we are, they homeless, they living in what they call tent city, downtown, and we there to feed them, and they don't even want no food. They so goddamn high on K2. You know, it was insane. But yeah, you right, brother. That stuff right there, you trying to kill your own baby. That was crazy. All right. So says Washington University medicine physician at St. Louis Children's Hospital has worked in the emergency room department for a decade. In that time, she can't remember seeing so many children in the ED, which is the emergency department, after being exposed to or ingesting fentanyl. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now that lady was talking to one sister, the doctor was talking about a safe way to do the dope. It ain't no safe way. Cause now look who getting it. As the kids trying to wake their mama, they probably hungry. You know what I'm saying? And then they see the stuff right there because the mama or the daddy didn't hit it and passed out. And then they touch it. And then they end up dying or getting rushed to the, you know what I'm saying, emergency room. You know, it's crazy. In the past few months, we're seeing a significant increase, particularly in children who are coming in and passing away. You understand? That's crazy. That is crazy. You know? It says, according to data from the Missouri Child Fatality Review Program, poisoning deaths in children have increased over the past 3 years from an average of 11 poisoning deaths per year to 62 deaths in 2022. So that is a huge increase as well. You know what I mean? It says, although car accidents and gun-related injuries still kill more children each year, drug overdoses and poisoning increased by more than 500% in 2022. That is insane. All of the children. Whitney Houston said, I believe the children are the future. Teach them not to use fentanyl and let them get away. You understand? Show them all the beauty that they possess inside. They can't because they died in the emergency room. You know, they end up getting a hold to their parents' drugs, and then they die. You know, it was a school that let me see. I got that article, like I said, but we ain't got time. In Overland, out here in St. Louis County. They have, for some odd reason, they got fentanyl just sitting in the playground at the school. One of the little kids, 5 years old, we're talking 5, 6 years old. One of the little brothers got a hold to the fentanyl on the playground and turned around and he passed out, got sick, and he damn near died. You know what I'm saying? His mama said he recovering a little bit, you know, but still, you know, both of them are impacted by this fentanyl that they found at the goddamn playground. He found fentanyl, and they had, and my sons read this article. I told them, you better stay away, don't take no candy from nobody. They had, for Halloween one year, they passed out a bunch of fentanyl that looked like candy. They looked like candy. And they was passing it out to kids. I said, they trying to kill you out. You know what I mean? So more and more children are getting it. That was here in St. Louis too. But they done had so many busts here that they had down in Kansas City, where Malak is in charge of that city. They turned around, I got an article with them. They turned around and found enough fentanyl damn near to kill everybody in Kansas City. They found enough fentanyl. They had a bust here in St. Louis with enough fentanyl, they said, to kill everybody in this state. Straight up. Everybody in the state of Missouri, they had enough fentanyl to kill everybody in it. Now, and this is crazy. I said, God damn. You know, but this stuff is increasing, man. You know, this fentanyl thing is crazy. How people, we got to get them off of the drugs. You understand? The fentanyl, the weed, the crack, the the e-cigs, the vaping, the hookahs, whatever it is you smoking, the K2, spice, bath salt. You understand? All of that, man. We got to get off of all of that, all right? Damn right. And look, we passed the time, man. Like I said, well, we right at the time. We ain't passed it yet. We getting there. You understand? But I had some different little tips on how people can turn around and let me play this one. I want to play this video. Hold on. This brother right here. This is another exposure of this fentanyl and what happens. I'm gonna play this one, then we're gonna get out.
New charges tonight against a father accused of exposing his 8-month-old son to fentanyl, causing him to plunge into cardiac arrest.
Chris Davis has the details and why health experts say more cases like this might be on the horizon.
The drug fentanyl is notorious for even small amounts being potentially deadly to full-grown adults. You can only imagine what it would do to an 8-month-old baby.
We're dealing with a fentanyl epidemic, and we're going to see more of these before we see less.
According to St. Louis County Police, back in July, Portis Williams rushed his infant son to Christian Northeast Hospital after his son somehow got in contact with fentanyl. The child then reportedly went into cardiac arrest, resulting in permanent brain damage. When police tried to arrest Williams, he sped off in his car and still hasn't been taken into custody. Aaron Laxton, a therapist at Assisted Recovery Centers of America, has seen cases like these before.
What most likely happened is the child, maybe through the course of being on the floor, maybe found something, put it in his mouth, and now we're having transfer of fentanyl into the child's bloodstream.
He says this is a cautionary tale to parents who are active drug users.
Make sure that your equipment is up out of sight. Obviously, in a perfect world, no one would be using. But until we get to that spot, use smarter.
But he also urges caution before you just write off this father as a drag in society.
The dad did a lot of right things. The dad drove the child to the hospital. Undoubtedly, that father is going through a lot of emotions himself.
His argument, instead of focusing on a punishment for Williams, we need to find a way to get people like this into treatment so they can't harm themselves or the ones they love.
So there's a lot that's unknown, right? So I would say, first off, we need to pump the brakes on the situation.
Now Williams faces 2 charges: endangering a child and resisting arrest. And once again, he has not been taken into custody, so if you have any information on this case or where he might be, you are urged to give St. Louis County Police a call.
It just makes you sick when you think of such an innocent child exposed to something like this and probably just being in the same house with it. It's horrible exposure around someone smoking it. So I hope we don't see more. I hope he's wrong.
Absolutely, but because, this is becoming more of an epidemic, I think it's just a good reminder that this stuff is really potent and you cannot take any chances of just leaving it sitting out.
Chris, thank you.
Yeah, that's true. Baby is permanently brain dead. You know what I'm saying? So here go another one. 16-year-old died. You understand? Over the fentanyl overdose. This is crazy. I don't understand it. This young brother right here. This sister was explaining the story with her son. He supposedly been recovering from the fentanyl, but didn't turn around. He succumbed to it. Baby ingests fentanyl, goes into cardiac arrest. That's another baby. It's the sister responsible for this baby death right here. Like it's crazy, man. You understand? It is crazy. This is one of the largest fentanyl busts in the history right here. Like I said, I just don't understand it. Is why our folks are looking for the next high instead of looking for, you understand, a place where they can come and get off of it. Right. And that place is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. You understand? Come to school and get off the goddamn drugs, man. Look, that's our time. We definitely at it. We're going to clean up real quick and get up out of here. We're going to make some plates. Y'all take, if there's any food left, I say y'all bashing that food. You understand? And my other aunt, you understand? But my aunt Manette is responsible for cooking the foods and give gold